Because when anti-Semitism increases in the West, Israel sees that as a complementary tool to its Zionist project, to its Zionist ambition of bringing either all Jews to Israel or at least make Jews in the Western world that are outside of Israel, Jews in diaspora, support Israel. Holy, that is so crazy. Joe Rogan is an ape who behaves like a primate in response to Douglas Murray, who has evolved by thousands of years. She also thinks Muslim Brotherhood controls every institution, every major institution, just anti-Semitism with a new coat of paint. Yeah. It is pretty funny where it is pretty funny that these guys are basically fucking doing the parasitic nature of the Islamic mind must be wiped out. Like literally just like dehumanization and propaganda that justified the Holocaust in the minds of many German people being relitigated, but this time instead of Jew, they substituted Jewish people and the false smears against Jewish people for Arabs and Muslims. Protocols of the Elders of Ramallah. And it's wild because like the more this shit happens, I'm telling you right now, the more this shit happens, the more people feel resentful towards Israel. And it doesn't just stay at resentment towards Israel. This does unironically have a negative effect because Israel constantly being like, we're the Jewish nation state. We're doing this for Judaism. If you hate our live stream baby murder, then you must hate all Jews across the board. The more you do that, the more people go, okay, well, I guess this is Jews doing this. Like, how is the expectation from some fucking random dude who already has like encountered or has like nascent underlying anti-Semitic tendencies, like, yeah, Jews are in Hollywood, I don't know, whatever. How is that guy going to watch TV and TikTok at the same time, see all the fucking baby murder happening, and then on television or on Twitter, the fucking White House is literally blackbagging people because they said mean words about Israel, words that they might even agree with, okay? And then the White House is posting, Shalom, Shalom Mahmoud, we're blackbagging you. How is that person not supposed to think Jews control the media and every fucking aspect of the federal government? Like, these people do not think complex thoughts. So the more you fucking associate Israel with Judaism and the more you fucking keep saying that you're doing this to combat anti-Semitism, the more anti-Semitism is going to happen. The more it becomes, in the minds of everyday Americans, the only way to protest Israel is by being anti-Semitic. It's wrong, of course. Just like the conflation of Judaism and Israel is wrong. There will come a day when a lot of people who are in your families, okay, for all the Jewish HasanAbi heads in here, all the anti-Zionist HasanAbi heads in here, you will see your parents will actively be speaking in the ways that I'm speaking right now about Israel and try to desperately stop people from associating Judaism with Israel. It will inevitably happen. And I fear that it will happen when it's far too late at that point. And I hope it doesn't get to that point. But you'll see. That's the point. They're trying to increase global anti-Semitism. I know, but it's so short-sighted and it's so fucking stupid. E. Fartlow's whole mindset that Israel and therefore all Jews are under attack by the powers that be makes no sense. Every Western power aligns with her views. Like, why does she feel like a victim? She has the military-industrial complex on her side. Why would they want to increase anti-Semitism? Why would Israel want to increase anti-Semitism? I don't know. Ask the Mossad why they fucking bombed synagogues in Iraq to create, to heighten the tensions in Iraq for the Iraqi Jews. Because when anti-Semitism increases in the West, Israel sees that as a complementary tool to its Zionist project, to its Zionist ambition of bringing either all Jews to Israel or at least make Jews in the Western world that are outside of Israel, Jews in diaspora, support Israel, because it gives additional credence to the argument. It gives additional credence to the argument that no Jew is ever safe if there is no Jewish state. That is the underpinning of the Zionist project in general. And while there is no historic, it's kind of like this, okay? Imagine if white Christian colonists constantly ran on the argument that they're always under attack, nonstop, from every angle, and they have to be violent, and they have to do a genocide on the indigenous population. There were arguments like that being presented at the time, but like there has never been a point throughout history where white Western nations have ever been, or especially on the basis of Christianity, they've ever been like truly under attack. So when you say something like that, most people laugh at you. Like when Kevin Sorbo says like, because I'm a white Christian man, I'm being oppressed in Hollywood or whatever, right? Like there is no real historic wrong you can attach to that kind of sentiment. That's why people desperately will try to grab onto like apartheid South Africa and how there's a white genocide happening in South Africa or whatever, right? Like, but there is a real historic wrong that has been committed over and over again against Jews, which is why this argument goes a much longer way. The argument of anti-Semitism goes a much longer way because anti-Semitism is a real bigotry, as opposed to just like anti-white Christian men bigotry. That's not fucking real. That's not a real bigotry at all. That's what's so different about. And that's what's so different about the way to defend Israel in the Western world by talking about the way to defend Israel by talking about anti-Semitism in general, because anti-Semitism is a real bigotry, and it is associated with real historic wrongs and historic violence that Jews were subjected to. Speaking of repressed white men, did you see what happened to your favorite comedian? Yeah. Can you expand on that Iraq claim you made? Yes. Israeli Iraqi Jewish historian Avi Shlaim has detailed out Mossad operations around the Nakba, or in the aftermath of the Nakba, where Israel wanted more immigration from the MENA region into Israel, of Jews into Israel. And a part of that plan also featured creating an environment of instability and creating a environment of danger for Jews in places like Iraq. They did so by bombing synagogues in Iraq to be like, see, the Iraqis are so anti-Semitic, they want to kill you. You have to come to Israel. And it worked. Ironically enough, the Iraqi Jews and all of the Arab Jews that came into Israel initially were fucking brutalized by the Israeli state to begin with. That's the other side of the story. Here, this is Avi Shlaim.
Lebanon.
Here.
Before the emergence of the State of Israel in 1948, there was a large number of Jews living in the Arab world. Something like 800,000, and there were Jews in...
One must ask the question, why? Part of that is also because, you know, Jews have historically lived in that region. The other reason why there was a lot of Jews living in that region was because plenty of them migrated, escaping pogroms under Christian rulership in Europe, and came under the protectorate of the Ottoman Empire, because the Ottoman Empire was a safe haven for Jews.
Lebanon, in Syria, in Egypt, and Iraq. The Jewish community in Iraq was the most ancient, going back to 2.5 millennia ago. It was the most prosperous, the most successful, and the best integrated into local society. But before 48, there were Jews throughout the Arab world, and Muslim-Jewish coexistence was not a distant dream. It was everyday reality. The Jews and Arabs lived side by side.
Why do you hate Jews, bro? Come on. Try harder.
Until the arrival of Zionism, my family and I, we were Arab Jews. We spoke Arabic at home. We didn't speak any other language. Our culture was Arab culture. Our food was the most delicious, spicy Middle Eastern
Yeah, this guy must hate Jews too, I
food.
assume.
It wasn't European food. So in every sense of the word, we were Arab Jews. We Arab Jews had much more in common, linguistically and culturally, with non-Jews around us. We had much more in common with them than we had with Jews in Eastern Europe. In March 1950, the Iraqi parliament passed a law which said any Jew who wants to leave the country is free to do so. They have a year to register to leave on a one-way visa. And not many Jews registered to leave. And in the next year, 5 bombs exploded in Jewish premises in Baghdad, and that created a panic, and that helped to precipitate the exodus to Israel. Yosef Basri, 28-year-old lawyer and an ardent Zionist, and he was responsible for 3 out of the 5 bombs. The controller of Basri was an Israeli intelligence officer called Max Binet. He gave him the orders, he gave him the TNT. In 1950, there were 135,000 Jews in Iraq. By the end of 1952, there were only about 10,000 Jews left in Iraq, and 125,000 Jews ended up in Israel. We left Iraq as Jews, and we arrived in Israel as Iraqis. But the problem is that Israel claims to be the state of the Jews. Israel claims to speak on behalf of all Jews everywhere. Zionism is an Ashkenazi thing. It's nothing to do with us.
Yeah. My husband is a Sunni Muslim and I'm Ashkenazi Jew, and he was telling me about the Jewish synagogues in and around downtown Beirut, and I didn't understand why they would be there until I read From Beirut to Jerusalem by Thomas L. Friedman. Wait, Thomas Friedman? Well, Thomas Friedman is woke now, so it's fine. He's woke now. Anyway, my dad would tell me stories about how little conflicts there were with not only Jews and Muslims, but even the Shia and Sunnis in our country, to the point that they would even bury people of different religions together and everything, when now even Sunnis and Shias have different burial grounds and rituals. Who is this dude? This is a very famous Israeli new historian by the name of Avi Shalem. He has written many books about Israeli history. The reason why he's known as a new historian, he's part of the new historians, is because him, Ilan Pape, and Benny Morris, who is not as great, uncovered a bunch of hidden aspects of the inception of the Israeli state. The reason why I say Benny Morris is a little bit different is because while these guys all played a major role in showing how Israel had written its own history, Benny Morris recognizes the Nakba as a planned ethnic cleansing campaign, but thinks it's good and it had to happen, whereas Avi and Ilan Pape think it's unconscionable. Avi Shalem has written The Iron Wall, Israel and the Arab World, and numerous other books. Out of the new historians, Benny Morris is what happens when you uncover the truth about Israeli history and then say, and it's awesome, versus these two guys looked at that and were like, this is genocide. This is really fucked up. What did Norm say? Benny's historical facts are 100%, but his conclusions are insane. Yes, his conclusions are evil. That's not even true. Morris said he disliked Ben Gurion because he did not go full on and finish the job. Yeah, new historians. They got access to documents from the founding of the state that were previously kept hidden. Yeah. Sit with this fact. There are more Arabs living in Tel Aviv than there are Jews in the entire Middle East. That's part of the reason why I was very mad at Ethan in the when he did the context puke, and in it made a ridiculous claim that more Jews were ethnically displaced during the Nakba, which he called a war, than Palestinians that were displaced from their ancestral homelands. 750,000 versus 1 million plus. the comparison is ridiculous. The comparison is ridiculous because one is a planned exterminationist ethnic displacement campaign. The other is voluntary migration, primarily, sometimes egged on by the Israeli state, like in the case of Iraq. It's a very sneaky way to make this incredibly disingenuous claim that is akin to genocide revisionism, genocide denial. Benny's the author of the quotes, Ben-Gurion should have ethnically cleansed all Palestinians in 1948, not half of them. And if 10 million Iranians die when Israel nukes Iran, they would deserve it for having made the revolution of 1979. Yeah. Benny Morris signed a petition calling the situation in the West Bank apartheid and recently wrote in Haaretz that Israel's on the cusp of committing a genocide, but not yet. Oh my God, even Benny Morris is becoming woke? Wait, what the fuck? That's crazy. Here's another stat. There are about as many indigenous people in America as Jews, and yet indigenous issues do not get nearly the attention that Israel gets. That's how you know American support has little to do with actually caring about Judaism or fighting anti-Semitism and everything to do with colonialism. Yes.
We're often told
how Israel became a fascist state. Aaron Bastani meets Ilan Pappé. Oh, this just came out. Yeah, Ilan Pappé is the GOAT of this. His book 10 Myths is like great. I mean, 10 Myths is probably what I would point to as like a must read in terms of anti-Zionist thought, in terms of understanding the dynamic, in terms of understanding the propaganda and the lies being told at the behest of Israel. It is, I think, it's a fairly easy read, and I highly, highly recommend it. It's a great introduction. It's a great starting point. God damn, dude. Holy shit.